that if you don't have a purpose, you have nothing. You can't be happy if you don't have a purpose. Going for something that you believe in your heart is right without worrying what other people might think, or sometimes without worrying about the repercussions, but just going with your gut instinct. If you feel strongly about something, that you go for it and achieve it.
Hello everyone, this is Shadab Mughal and I'm your host for today. And it is another episode of Fearless Women Coaches in Wheel series where you get to meet live coaches from all around the world and know a bit more about them. And today we have an incredible guest with us. She is also a team member of Fearless Women and her name is Katharina. And yes, Katharina, without further ado, let's welcome Katrina. Yes, Katrina, how are you?
I'm
Welcome.
doing well. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for asking. So, yes, and please excuse me if I have pronounced your name incorrectly.
No worries. It's German,
Okay.
so sometimes people are confused about the TH as Katharina. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yes, Katrina, would you like to introduce yourself to our audiences?
Yes. So I live in England with my husband and two children. I'm originally from Germany. I am a life coach for women. And well, originally my first career was in marketing. So I grew up in a small town in Germany. I decided to go to business school, which is, it was something practical to do at the time. And I thought I was going to pursue that career. And I did work in marketing for a number of years and then realized I wasn't fully happy. I was looking for something more fulfilling. And at the time, one of my big passions was and still is fitness. So I actually left the corporate marketing world and opened my first barre studio in London. And barre is a blend of ballet, yoga, and Pilates, for those who don't know. So I did that for a number of years. And then eventually came to life coaching because I found being in a healthy body and being physically fit is one thing, but you also need to look after your mind and how you're feeling, up here. And I found that a lot of my clients were a little unhappy and just going through the motions of life. And I found myself actually the same, just being on a bit of a treadmill. I was teaching a lot, I was running the studio, and I got into coaching because somebody offered me free coaching, actually. At the time, it was a friend of a friend. And yeah, I found how powerful it is. And then I ended up training as a life coach myself last year and launching my business. So yeah, that's what brought me to where I am now. And I've been coaching women since last summer. I call myself a transformative life coach for women. And yeah, I've been really enjoying that and have found something that really fulfills me.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much, Katrina, for this wonderful introduction. And I guess we share the similar journey because I was not in the marketing, but I was in a finance field where I felt that something was missing and I needed to find my purpose. So yes, in that we share a similar journey. So yes, Katrina, I would like to ask you a question that is very dear to me because I always ask this question to every guest of mine. What does fearless mean to you?
Fearless to me means going for something that you believe in your heart is right without worrying what other people might think, or sometimes without worrying about the repercussions, but just going with your gut instinct. If you feel strongly about something, that you go for it and achieve it.
Mm-hmm. And what do you think that were there any phase or moment in your life where being fearless was an only option to you?
Um, I can probably think of several, but there's one specific one So I mentioned before I was working in marketing and I wanted to leave the corporate world, which was quite scary to me at the time because you're leaving a well-paid job. And there was an opportunity to partner up with a business partner and some investors to start a company in London, which was my first bar fitness studio. And being fearless was my only option because I felt in my gut that it's what I had to do. But obviously it meant moving to a foreign country and it meant giving up a well-paid job. So I arrived in London basically with a suitcase and yeah, I just went for my dream.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's incredible. And I just love when people have to be, people do not have any choice but to be fearless. And in that moment, the courage finds them from, I guess, from anywhere or everywhere. And then they have no option but to be fearless. And that's what really happened to you. So thank you so much for sharing it. Yes, Katrina, I would like to know more about what you mentioned that when you were a client for a coach that was being referred to you by your friend. So was this specific instant when you felt that this is something that I would like to go for? Or is there any reason that really brought you into the coaching? Yeah.
Yeah, it was really at first a little bit by coincidence. I had had coaching before, many years before, but I feel like at the time I wasn't quite ready for it. I think you need to be really open and ready for it. So then this time when I had the coaching again with this friend of a friend, that was a deciding moment for me because I found how powerful it was, because that was where I was at a point in my life where I didn't know how to move forward because I was running my fitness business, but I was really quite stressed. What had once been a passion didn't feel like a passion anymore because um I just was on a bit of a treadmill, and the coaching helped me to gain some clarity on what I wanted moving forward. And at that point in time, I didn't necessarily know that I wanted to be a coach, but I knew how I wanted to feel and the person I wanted to be. And I knew that I needed to make some changes. And then I had been following Jay Shetty for a while and had been into self-development. And then I realized that he has a coaching school, which I wasn't aware of before. So I started looking into it. And the reason to sign up for the coaching school was kind of a gut feeling. Sometimes it's just like you feel that the universe wants you to do something and you just go for it. I signed up for it, and at the time I thought to myself that I'm going to invest my time and money in this school, and I just knew that I was going to really enjoy it. And I thought to myself, okay, either I will do something with it afterwards or maybe I won't, and then it's just a really good experience for me. But then quite soon into the school, when I started coaching my practice clients, I knew this is it. This is really what I want to do. I really love this. Um, so yeah, so that was the start of it all. And then yeah, it's been growing from there. And I started my business last September, and yeah, going strong now.
Okay, so that sounds amazing because that's how you found your purpose. And in fact, I was about to ask you that how and when did you find your purpose? And you mentioned it clearly that it was that time where you found your purpose and when you were coaching your clients in the Jay Shetty school. And that was incredible. So while you were finding your purpose and you realized that it's my purpose, okay, what was the biggest obstacle that you came across during this thing?
Um, I think maybe becoming a coach in today's world, you you do still have some hesitation sometimes because not everybody knows what it is, what it does it mean to be a coach. And I think that might have been the biggest obstacle, where I wondered, is this really something I can do for a job? And what are people going to think when they hear life coach? Because not everybody understands what it really means. So I think, like a lot of coaches, when you first start out, I had these doubts. But I think when your purpose is strong, when you know your why, you can overcome those doubts. And I think when your why is strong, you just keep going until things eventually work out for you.
That's incredible. And I still remember that you mentioned to me that you consider yourself a transformative coach who helps women to find their own purposes. And I just love the way you found your purpose, and now you are helping women finding their purpose, and finding the means to monetize that purpose. So would you like to share why it is important for a woman to find their purpose and then try to find the way to monetize that thing?
I feel like if we don't have our purpose, we have nothing. We need a purpose in life. Otherwise, how can we be happy? And
Yeah.
I find that I coach a lot of women now that are kind of similar age to me, sort of midlife, and have gone through having children, but now the children are not so small anymore. The children are a little bit bigger, and for a while they might have put their careers on hold, or not worked as much, and now they're coming out the other end, and they're wanting to really find something for them that they enjoy. Also, quite often the relationship has suffered with their partners, because when you have small children, it's very challenging, and you're juggling your life. So, but really, when you say you're in your 40s, you still have such a long life ahead of you. And I just love working with women in this sort of stage of their lives where they are deciding, okay, what do I want to do? What really fulfills me? And sometimes it's not, they don't know that. So we need to actually sit down and look at, okay, what inspires you? What do you love? What are your strengths? Sometimes it could be that they already have a job that they like, but they
Uh,
just need to find that
Catherine,
joy.
Katharina, sorry to interrupt. Katharina, you're
Yeah.
freezing. I cannot hear you or see you. You're freezing. I just sorry to interrupt you, but you're freezing. I cannot really see you and hear you.
Hmm.
I guess we need to come again. We can edit this video. Let me come again because I guess there is a connection problem over here.
Yeah, I don't know why, because my internet is
I
strong.
cannot, yeah, my net is also strong, but sometimes I cannot hear you, or maybe sometimes I cannot see you. And that's why the video is, we cannot really post this video, upload this video later. So let me just come again. You can also refresh your Wi-Fi and then let's see that if it works. Okay, just
Yeah,
two
and
minutes.
do you want to start from the beginning then, or do we
No,
start?
no, not just no, no, just from this question. Just from
Yeah,
this question. Because for
okay.
this
So,
question, I couldn't really hear you. You were just frozen. And yes,
okay, so do you want me to log out and log back in?
I'm logging out. I'm logging out. Yes, yeah. Just do that. Just refresh this so maybe it works. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Okay. I still remember the time when you mentioned that you consider yourself a transformative coach who loves to help women in finding their own purpose and then later find the way to monetize it. Would you like to tell our audience why it is important for a woman to find their purpose or to find the means to monetize it? Yeah.
I feel that if you don't have a purpose, you have nothing. you can't be happy if you don't have a purpose. And obviously financially, financial independence is also important for women. I really love working with women who are in a stage of their lives like me, who are in their 40s and they've had children, and the children are not so small anymore. You know, when they're little, it's very challenging and you're very consumed by it. But now, when you've come out the other side of it, you might have put your job a little bit on hold. Maybe you've worked less or only part-time, or maybe not worked at all. And then also often your relationship has suffered a little bit because it's all about the kids and it's all about juggling life. So I have a lot of clients, although I would coach people at any age, but I have a lot of clients who are especially in this stage of their lives where they are reevaluating what they want to do. It's a bit like it was all about the kids, but now that's not as pressing anymore. Now, what about me? Now, what do I really want to do? So I really enjoy sitting down with them and figuring out what really inspires you. What are your passions? What would you like to do with your life? And it can either be somebody who hasn't worked for a while because of children, or it can also be somebody who's been in a corporate job but is unhappy and they just want to do something totally different. Like I've got a client, for example, she works in IT and she would like to become an interior designer. So we've been working on building up that confidence to take that step, to take a course, to build it up on the side until she can hopefully quit her corporate job. So yeah, that really lifts me up, and I feel that that is something that is important to any woman's life, to find something that you love and that you have your financial independence.
Mm-hmm. Totally agree with that. But sometimes, Katharina, what I have seen in people is that, especially at this stage of their life, it's scary. This part, this journey is just scary. If you have already got a settled job and money is coming in into your bank accounts and you are already pursuing a certain path for many years, and now something inside of you is whispering to you that I need to do something else, or I need to do something that I love the most, and I'm not even sure what I love the most. So I think what I believe, and please correct me if I'm wrong, what I believe is that it's extremely difficult for a woman, or scary for a woman, to take that path, to find their purpose, even though they know that something is calling them. It needs courage, and that's what we I asked you about, and you said that that was the time for you. You had to be fearless. Otherwise, you would have been in the same corporate world you have been before. So, how a coach raises awareness so for women regarding this issue that I've just mentioned to you.
Yeah, I agree with you. It is very scary, and fear is always an issue. It comes up every single time when I talk to my clients. And I think coaching is something that can really help to work through the fear, because the more you talk about it, the more you realize that is something that you are creating in your mind. It's a story you're telling yourself, right? And I find that the more we talk about it in the session, we might also go back and talk a little bit about their past, the things that might have affected them even in their childhood. Why are they the way they are now? But then looking into the future, most of my clients realize, okay, I have certain fears for a certain reason, but there's no reason for me to be fearful anymore. And sometimes it's just taking small steps. So let's say you have this business in mind you want to create, and you only see the final result. And you might look at other people who have an existing business, and it just seems so overwhelming and almost impossible. But it's small steps. It's, you know, like the client I mentioned before who wants to be an interior designer, signing up for the course, doing, you know, even 2 evenings a week working on this course. it's small steps at a time, and then the more you work on something, the more confident you become that this is your purpose. Or you might realize it's not, which is also fine, and then you can change course and do something else. But yeah, it doesn't happen in a day. It's taking small steps, and then the stronger your um the more certain you become that this is your purpose, the fear will fade.
Mm-hmm. That was incredible. You mentioned two things: the stories that we tell ourselves in our head, and the power of taking small action steps. And these were the things that I would highly recommend to our audience, because um, I always say to my clients, your life is some of the stories that you are telling yourself, and you need to be conscious of those stories. And when we get ourselves into this kind of work, the self development, and then we realize that most of these stories are outdated. We have literally grown a lot afterwards, and now, in order to move forward in life, we have to take small actions. And why it resonated with me, because these were the crucial components in my own journey. So yes, the power of taking small steps. Every person who will be finding their purpose in their life, whether at the early stages of their life or at the later stages, they'll need courage for that. They'll be needing courage and determination for that. And sometimes we do not find that courage or motivation. And for that, what we will suggest to our audience is taking small steps towards it. So apart from this thing that I've just mentioned, the fear of the unknown, I would say that it's the fear of the unknown, leaving behind the old that we have been living in. So apart from this, what could be the potential barriers or obstacles that a woman faces when they are trying to find their purpose, or the way to monetize it?
I think one of the big things is always what will other people say about it. If you tell people about your goal and what you want to do, there will be people around you in your circle that will say things that are discouraging, like, "Oh, but that's not going to work," or "Are you sure that you're going to be able to live off of that?" Or so it's knowing that what's important is what you want to do, and you don't need to listen to other people. And often other people, they are coming from their own scarcity mindset because they believe they could never do it, and that's why they believe that you can't do it. So that's one thing, is what other people say. But then again, it's usually ourselves that stand in our way, our own fears again, our barriers in our minds that we create. So the more you understand that you can tell yourself any kind of story, the more you understand that, the more you know that you can do whatever you put your mind to. You've just got to tell yourself. It sounds very simplistic, but it is true. If you tell yourself you can do something, then you just go ahead and do it. It's as simple as that, really.
That that's very true. You need to change the perception, and for that, you need to change the inner dialogue. And it it won't take a lot of time or effort for that. When you have a strong intentions to do something, then you just tell your mind and it works for you. But most people do not know that. And so while talking about these obstacles that people faces or women faces in their life, I have faced these obstacles while finding my own purpose. You must have faced these obstacles. So what was the one major tool or strategy that you used in your own life that really helped you find that purpose?
I think for me, having regular coaching myself. So although I'm a coach, some people don't know this, but even as coaches, we also need coaching. And so have been having regular coaching probably for about a year now with different
Wow.
coaches. Yeah, so I've now been with the same coach for 6 months. Um, so I constantly do the work on myself, having realizations in the coaching sessions helps me stay on track. Sometimes you feel that you've understood something, but then you haven't fully understood it and you go back to your old habits. And then the next coaching session, then you understand it a little bit more. And the next time you understand it a little bit more. So you deepen your understanding. Plus, you can do other things to support what you learn in the coaching sessions. I have been doing a lot of reading, so a lot of literature, especially on how the mind works. I think, you were saying before, this voice in your head that tells you can't do something. It's very easy to think that that's just me telling me that I can't do something, that's actually me, but that's not me. So the voice in my head is not me. I can separate myself from that. And for me, that is the key. And I do have a morning routine as well. I wake up every morning at 6 o'clock and I start my day with a meditation. And then I do journaling. And that way I start my day in a positive way, in a positive mindset. I also really believe in the power of a good night's sleep. So I go to bed quite early. I go to bed at 10 o'clock, sleep till 6. So I do think the way you feel in your physical body affects your mind. Obviously, I am into exercise. I teach, so I exercise regularly, which then also aids sleep. And then the better you sleep, the better you feel. So it's like a circle. Yeah, so I would say all of these things have helped me, and those things I also recommend to my clients.
Wow, that's incredible. And I have been into the self development field for past 9 years. And I really love reading or understanding how the mind works. And you mentioned it quite right that you need to separate yourself from the voice in your head. And for that, what I've realized is not that easy because we think that the voice in our head is ourselves. But no, there's a distinction between the two. But then meditation comes in. When you started meditating, right, then you can see that the voice is not you. And most importantly, you realize that the voice, whatever the voice is, it's not even true. Most of the time, it's not even true. It's mostly coming from the external environment. So yes, I just love your response to this question. Um, you talked about coaching, that you are a coach, and it's been almost a year that you have been assigned to another coach. And yes, it's true that coaches do need coaches for themselves. So why do you think why this medium, the medium of coaching, is so empowering tool for a woman to know themselves or to move forward in their life?
Mhm. I think the way we talk to a coach, we can't talk to anyone else in our lives often. We might have family, a partner, good friends, but I think a coach listens to you in a really powerful way without bias, which anyone that you're close to is not really able to do. And first of all, I noticed this with my clients. A lot of them they just want to be listened to. They just want to be heard. And they don't get that anywhere else. And they are so grateful to actually just have someone that listens to them and gives them their full attention. Somebody once put it this way, can't remember who said it, but coaching is like having a conversation with yourself that is facilitated by a coach. So
Wow.
really, it's powerful, isn't it?
Yeah, it is very powerful.
It's something we wouldn't do it on our own, and we also couldn't do it with someone from a family or friend because they don't have that skill set. They cannot look at us in the same way that a coach does. They can't talk to us in the same way because they're too biased. They will always give advice or they will cut you off or they think they know what's best for you. So I think that's the most powerful thing about coaching, where you have, say, an hour where you really tap into your inner wisdom and your coach facilitates that. Your coach will ask you clarifying questions, probing questions, mirror back to you what you've said, but really never tell you what to do. Um, Really just help you find your truth and how you want to move forward. And I think it's just the best feeling after you've had a session and you just feel like you have more clarity on how you want to move forward.
Yeah, that's very true. I often tell my clients that being a coach is like when you put yourself out there as a coach, I would say, then what you are really doing, you are allowing yourself to see your own life story from someone else's perspective. And the coach will help you see the roadblocks, the obstacles, or the story in your head that are going or running behind your unconscious awareness. Running behind your conscious awareness. So that's why coaching is very important tool, because sometimes we know the answers, but we do not really have the courage to see them. But when we are sitting in front of another person and then they started questioning us, those probing questions, those powerful strategies, then we need to confront what is really in front of us, and that's powerful. So talking about coaching, and I know you have many clients at this moment, so I would like to ask you, would you like to share a success story of a client who has found a positive change in their life after being coached by you?
Yeah, so yeah, a couple come to mind. There's one, for example, who I coached her for, I think, 2 or 3 months, and I was coaching her on her confidence and also being more mindful. And by the end of the coaching relationship, she had been offered a promotion in her company. She had also got a job offer externally from another company. And that was after being with the same company for 25 years. And before she felt like she wasn't growing and she was really stuck. So that's a good example of a very tangible result.
Yeah.
But I also, with some clients, it's not as, you can't quantify it in the same way. This is one example where you have a tangible result, but it's not always like that. I have my longest client, I've been coaching for 10 months now. She was one of my practice clients in the school and then became a paying client. And this is my longest coaching relationship I've had with anyone. And really, I am coaching her on her entire life. And she runs a business too. She's got an event planning business. She's got a husband and a child, and she has just become a much happier person. And she tells me all the time that's why she never wants to stop the coaching sessions. We do them every other week. So she just wants to stay on top of it, because I think the coaching helps her to, when she feels a bit stressed, the coaching always kind of brings her back. Okay, what's really important here, and what stories again am I creating in my mind? But she says, and I can see how much happier she is than she was a year ago. And that's the most rewarding, really, to help somebody to live a happy life.
Mm-hmm. That's incredible. And I just love that you mentioned that sometimes the results are tangible, but sometimes the results won't be tangible for a long period of time. And there is a distinction between these two scenarios. And anyone who is opting for coaching needs to know that, yes, you will get the tangible results, but the time may vary. So, yes.
Yeah, and also
Yes,
I
yeah,
think
please.
also the results in the end depend on the client as well, because as coaches, we can only help them with the insights, but the action has to come from them.
Yeah, and it's all about massive actions, I would say, at the end of the day, because no matter how much we try to help them in finding their own answers, even if they have got the answers for themselves or have got the major realizations or aha moment during the coaching journey, if they are not if they are not taking action or doing something tangible, then they cannot really expect the tangible rewards, I would say. You need to do tangible to get the tangible. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, Katrina, and now we are heading towards the most exciting part of this interview. It's some of the fun questions that I would say. So my question would be, if your life would have been a movie, what would be the title for it?
Finding happiness.
Love that, and that was spontaneous. Okay, and the other question would be, who are the who are the fearless women in your life that empowers you the most or inspired you the most?
I would say, first of all, my mom,
Wow,
because she's always been a go-getter and she would go for her dreams without fear. And I think she's been a role model for me. And if I had to name another two, I would probably say two of my clients because they really inspire me to see their transformation and to see them in action.
that's beautiful. Katrina, what advice would you like to leave for our audience today?
Well, if you would like to work on yourself, and I think we can all work on ourselves, get coaching and do the work on your mindset. And I think it's really easy to be stuck in a situation where you think there's no way out. And we've all been there, and you would think, oh, even a coach wouldn't be able to help me with this problem because the problems can feel very mm, sort of, it can seem like it's impossible to solve. But sometimes we just need somebody to help us see things from a different perspective, and you don't have to do it on your own. So I think there's a lot of bravery in seeking help, whether that's a therapist or a coach. I think that this will benefit anyone because coaching is for everybody.
Yeah, that's a wonderful advice. And where can our audience find you?
I've got a website, katharinarather.com, and I've got my Instagram, Katharina Rather underscore coaching. And my Facebook is also called Katharina Rather Coaching. So I'm on and LinkedIn. You'll find me under my name. So I'm on various platforms.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much, Katrina, for this wonderful, or I would say that you gave so much. I would say that the episode was full of golden nuggets, and I would gonna rewatch it because I have got many nuggets over here. So thank you for your time and energy, Katrina, and sharing your story with us.
Thank you very much for having me. I really enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Katrina. Thank you, our lovely audience. It was wonderful meeting you all. And yes, just take care of yourself until we meet you next week. Bye bye. Take care.
Bye-bye.